kinds of information about Hardanger, and maybe they can stay a little bit or something, but if you have any questions, I'm sure David and either of them have an email or something.
This
You
is,
want- and
this
there's
is
a
the
beautiful
program
handout.
they brought, and each of you has one at your spot.
And this is Sophia's dad. All right, thank you so much.
So the first one we're going to do is a Rhinelander from Fiddle. Normally that's a regular fiddle country, since in Norway different sections are separated by the types of instruments they play. But we've adapted some of these things from these areas, and it's more common nowadays to have fiddlers doing different things from different areas. Up until modern times, maybe the last 15 or 20 years, wasn't considered proper to play music from other areas of Norway. You pretty much needed to stick to your own area. And still, if you go to places and dance, go to a dance in a place, for instance, Fogo, or Lom, which are really close together, they'll play the music from the area, mostly Spring Lakes, and they'll play a few Rhinelanders, maybe a mazurka or two and a waltz or two, but they'll mostly play Spring Lakes for dances. That's it. 4 or 5 dances and that's it. You go to Roos, and they'll play Roos pulse all night, and then they'll throw in a few Rhinelanders, mazurkas, and Hope Waltz, which is a Roos version of the polka. So it's very much regional as far as the music. And you don't find the Hardanger fiddle scattered around Norway very much. It's mostly in the Hardanger fiddle areas, which are Telemark, parts of Vest-Agder and Øst-Agder, up through Sogn-og-Fjordane, and that's pretty much it. By the time you get to the upper part of Sogn-og-Fjordane, it turns into this 2 areas where they play both instruments. In Nordfjord, for instance, they play both instruments, and then you get up above that into the Trøndelags, the Sora Nord Trøndelags and Nordland, and Troms and Finnmark. All those fylkes up there that are all regular fiddle country. Everything east of the Gudbrandsdal area, the Logan River area, is all regular fiddle country. Almost all of Gudbrandsdal is regular fiddle country. And that takes care of most of Norway. Geographically, most of Norway is regular fiddle country. So the Hardanger fiddle is only played in select areas. But you're finding more and more people nowadays who will play the Hardanger fiddle, and they may live in Roos, for instance. When I was at the Landskapsleiken in '99, there was a fiddler from Roos who played tunes from Setesdal on the Hardanger fiddle, but he also played Polstans tunes from Roos on his regular fiddle. So that's why we feel we can take some liberties and play music from other parts. So Ringnessen is the first one. same area, Holdervals. I guess I haven't given you one of my presentations here yet, but we've done this for the Daughters of Norway in Portland, and we regularly go to Greek Lodge events. But in Norway, in the folk beliefs, there's lots of creatures that exist. These are the netherworld creatures, or the Underjordiska, if you speak Norwegian. And there are lots of creatures like trolls. There's little Nissa that run around taking care of the animals. There's Huldra, which are usually beautiful ladies, but they have tails. They usually hide them behind their skirts, though, so the men don't see them. There are various different names for all these different creatures. Some of them are shapeshifters, so they can change. Some of the Huldra can change from a lady into a white horse, and sometimes they'll just disappear into the water. I used to carve with a friend from Trøndelag, Koribon, who moved over here after World War II, and he swears that on 2 occasions he saw Huldra. I don't know if he had a lot of aquavit before that or not. But, anyway, they're there. Sometimes they're translated as fairies, and sometimes some people translate it as trolls. So a lot of the words get interchanged. But anyway, this is a waltz that's named after the Huldra, and many of the folk tunes are. There's many folk tunes from Norway that have been named after trolls or Huldra or Nissa or many of these other creatures. There's also the devil tunes too. We haven't done any of those yet. So Holdervals. one is from Telemark, Buckhorn Hollingen. It has some very interesting history because it's also an old melody for Furnace-Brunnen, which is the story of the horse that carried the corpses from a community that didn't have a sanctified graveyard, so it had to take the corpses to the nearest church. So the horse was from Furnace in Telemark, and there's a wonderful tune that goes with it. This is just part of it, the very, very beginning. So eventually we'll learn the whole tune. So, and this, it's sort of a performance tune. In Norway they have a number of tunes they call liederslåt, which are listening tunes. So this is probably one of them, although it's called a halling. I'm sure you're familiar with the halling dance. In Norway they call it laustdans, which literally means loose dance, because it's very improvisational. Very fun dance, mostly for men, although there's some ladies that are dancing it nowadays. If you look it up on YouTube, you can see some wonderful dancing, because it's very energetic, very athletic, very physical. And it used to be just for men to show off to the ladies for. Anyway, so Buckhorn Hollingen. Martian. It's a very well-known Fiddle marsh, and not too much to say about it. I don't know, has anybody here been to Selyard? Selyard has its own creature. Selyard is right on one end of a very large lake. Mountains all around it, and very interesting area. And one of the things you see there are symbols of a sea creature, very much like Loch Ness from Scotland. So that's one of the claims to fame of Selyard. There's also another place around Selyard, a place called Fiddle, where there used to be a stop church. And in 11 and 1200s, there were almost 300 staff churches. There's only 29 left right now. And a couple of those are reproductions. Fantoft, New Bergen is a reproduction because it was burned down in early 2000. But there used to be this very famous church there, and many fiddle tunes came from it, from Kibla. And Kibla Muyana, the shield maidens, were associated with this church. That's a whole other story. We haven't learned that tune yet, but it's usually done in a different tuning than troll tuning. So anyway, it's a very interesting area. If you ever get a chance to visit there, you might see the creature in the lake. You're lucky. So if it was a real Fiddle marsh, it would last a lot longer than that. A lot of the Bruin Marsh were written to walk from the farm, where they usually had the festivities after the wedding, to the church and back again. So the fiddler was there to help everybody walk along and provide some nice music to walk by. In some cases in Western Norway, they rode horses, and some people walked, but the bride usually was behind the horse. Do any of you belong to Vesterheim? No? They had a very nice article about Norwegian weddings in their quarterly journal. And in fact, on the cover they showed the wedding of Ole Odin, who's Philip Odin's son. Philip Odin and Elsie Bigton are two professional wood carvers who live in Barronett, Wisconsin. And they're both, they met in Norway. They speak fluent Norwegian, and I've been there before, and they have telephone conversations. Elsie is from Norway, and they go back and forth numerous times, and their son spent a whole year over there in Norway, when you graduate from gymnasium, from a high school, it's very common to spend a year doing something fun before you go to the university. And so they have Folkeskole. They're kind of like high schools, but you do things like artistic things. You can, the one in Venstre, for instance, is kind of centered around music, especially folk music. So Ole went there for folk music, and then so it's all kinds of interesting things you can do. The last one we're going to do is Hastabusken. It's a telemark springar, and Sofia hasn't learned to tap her feet yet, so I'm going to do the foot tapping for her. It's part of the music, especially springars. Not too necessary to do them for things like Rhinelanders and things, although people, a lot of fiddlers still do tap their feet a little bit. For the springar, it's very helpful to have a foot beat to know where the rhythm is, because many of the inland springars are asymmetric. The rhythm is not even, so you'll see where the rhythm is.